But is there another reason we should side with Ukraine over Russia? Russia is a much more significant country by every measure. Why is it disloyal to side with Russia, but loyal to side with Ukraine? They're both foreign countries that don't care anything about the United States. China, which is the actual threat. Why would we take
But they're all white.
Side? Why wouldn't we have Russia's side? I'm totally confused. So much. Has Putin ever called me a racist? Has he threatened to get me fired for disagreeing with him? Has he shipped every middle-class job in my town to Russia? I should say, for the record, I'm totally opposed to these sanctions, and I don't think that we should be at war with Russia. And I think we should probably take the side of Russia if we have to choose between Russia and Ukraine. That is my view. But Ukraine and Russia. And I'm serious. Like, why do I care? Why. And why shouldn't I root for Russia, which I am?
Hey, everybody, welcome back to Get Live. From the horse's ass itself, Cuckin for Putin is what we call this little segment.
He's the two-assed monkey.
Oh, and the gift that keeps on giving. Now, a buddy of mine sent me this about $1 away from calling it out of gas.
I'm going to touch your stuff.
Makes sense to me. I mean, that would have been a deal breaker for you, kind of, because that would have been a cut in your pay.
Yeah, it would have been like the raise that you gave me at the beginning of the year, which was supposed to be cost of living.
And a butter churn.
A new butter churn.
A new butter churn.
With fresh piping and shredding.
One, yeah. Can I have a shiny one?
But it's electric, not gas powered. Oh, I'm sorry. We're talking about butter churns. I thought we were talking about sex toys. Sorry. Anyway, so Cuckin for Putin.
So, yeah. And this was something I found.
Don't know as a term of art in the intelligence world. They don't really know what they're doing. They're just stupid. These people are almost collaborators to a certain extent. They do know what they're doing. I would call them an asset.
See, you can't do that, man. You got to just go all in with your original statement.
This guy has no fucks to give.
It's funny how he just sort of leans into the argument that, like, these fuckers are
stupid. These people are all...
Don't say these people. You don't like that.
Yeah.
Collaborators to a certain extent. They do.
He went from blank to these people to now they're straight up collaborators.
Know what they're doing. I would call them an asset, especially Tucker Carlson. And Tulsi Gabbard, she's just a moron.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to Nothing Yet Live. I am the Jay Tyler.
I am your Ms. Parker.
And you just witnessed Cuckin for Putin. And what he was talking about, too, he's also talking about spycraft.
But for these people to come up there, we are now seeing a term that I never thought I'd see in my life. Fifth columnist.
Fifth column.
So who's he referring to when he says that?
Well, I mean, we know Beau of the Fifth Column. Yeah, I thought that was like a military term, but it's not. There is a fifth column. I mean, I guess.
It's like agitators,
insert fucking
right?
No, but just insert thing here. Well, he described the way that Cuck describes them is as agitators, right?
People who are deliberately working to undermine the American structure.
And, David, the one, it's hard for me forever to disagree with my friend Malcolm Nance. I mean, the difference is Tokyo Rose, ultimately was cleared because she was trying to.
So this,
I love her outfit, by the way. Sorry, you guys can't see it.
It looks like she's about to either play tennis against Serena
and she's got I don't know if that's bracelets or if that's, anyway, I'm talking about things you can't see. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Well, then, so that leads me down a rabbit hole, right? And so I'm a nerd, and I wonder if Dr. Z knows about
how big of a nerd you are.
Yeah, of course he does. I'm going to punch you verbally with this list of things I have to say.
Bring it.
Okay, fine.
I'm filled with the love of Christ and bang energy.
Energy drink.
Actually, this is the Jay Tyler coffee. It's pretty amazing. Go
okay,
ahead.
so she's talking about Tokyo Rose. Tokyo Rose. So there is a thing called number stations. Now, number stations, if you know about what's called spycraft or tradecraft, you'll know that these things are called number stations. They're outposts that spies use to transmit information, right? They're called number stations. Well, apparently since the Ukraine war, now this is Cold War tech. This is like Cold War spy tech, these number stations. Well, they fired back up and they're broadcasting, but no one knows what they're broadcasting or to whom.
Where are they?
Look, see where I go? Just right down.
Yeah. So where are they?
All over the world. And they use such a low tech that it really can't be fucked with.
So
If you can hear it, you could have a simple radio and a shortwave band radio. You could collect this coding, but you have no fucking way of knowing where it's going, who it's for, what it says, or how to decode it. Number stations, look them up.
So how do they know that they're live again?
Because they're broadcasting. Since
Okay.
the Ukrainian war has started happening,
Okay,
the number
so
stations have fired back up.
So who discovered this?
Anybody with a radio.
Okay, so they know.
Anybody with
But
a fucking,
don't you have to
you
kind of
can
know
tune
what
in.
you're looking for?
No, you can tune into a certain band, which
Mhm.
they're on. You guys can look it up. I'm not going to go too far into it, but you can look it up and you can tune into it, but it's just people saying 17, 14. These are codes, and you have
Oh.
no idea who they're being broadcast to or what they mean. It's totally, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can't stop it. You can't defeat it. There's no-
Somebody's going to start code cracking. You know, there are a bunch of people.
How are you
out
going to
there.
know?
I don't know how you're
I
going to
can
know.
make
But
an
they're-
un- I
I'm
can
not
make an
saying
un-
they can, but they're going to try.
No, you can easily make an uncrackable code by adding a fourth dimension. You just add time. And so
Oh.
if it's after a certain time, then the code changes automatically.
Okay,
for the
yeah, you
sender
really
and
are
the
a nerd.
receiver.
That's a compliment, by the way.
Thank you. Could have. Yeah, you asked me what I know about spying. But yeah, number stations have fired back up. That means spies are. So what the fuck's going on? And while we're not paying attention,
We're bombing Yemen.
yeah. Speaking of worst bosses, you want to go first?
Sure. I think I've already told the story about.
I got one. Terry Reagan.
Okay, the boss.
I don't.
I
mind
had
saying
a
his
I
name.
had a boss who, when I was 16 years old.
Oh shit!
Well,
wait.
it was very confusing.
Beep.
It was very confusing because he was 32 and really good looking, and he just was always putting his hands all over me, and it was very confusing to me because it was like,
Well, I fulfilled a lot of people's predictions about me. I've become a real scum.
yeah, he was a real scumbag. But he actually had a snake in the store. I think I've told this story.
No metaphors here on KROT.
Yeah, he kind of did because he had like a what do you call it? A
That's
lock.
like the full teaching load.
Because his wife threw him out, probably for the kind of aforementioned activities.
Came
And
over, man.
he would sleep in the store in a loft that he built for himself. Anyway, he called it the back room. And
So
he told me that
that's going into an airdrop.
yeah, he said if you were born 10 years earlier, I could take you to the back room. But
he said just lay back and enjoy it.
pretty much. Anyway, the snake, I'll share the snake story again sometime later because I've done it. I shared it recently. But fast forward about 15 years, I was working at this vitamin company. This is a different vitamin company than the one I was working at when I met Steve. This place was run, the owner, he's no longer, from what I heard, he's no longer an owner. I don't even know if he's on the board of directors.
She was making crack.
Well, they were making ephedra.
Ah, this
products.
candy's really good.
They were making ephedra products and products that had Ma Huang in them. And supposedly one of our employees tested positive for meth. He was on parole. And he said, no, honestly, I'm just taking this product. But that's not the worst boss story. The boss, the guy who owned the company, I didn't report to him directly, but I reported to somebody else who reported to him. And he was kind of like Donald Trump, and I could tell stories. He was a narcissist.
Sorry,
He was a narcissist, and he was into ripping off his suppliers. You know how I take that money for naughty favors? I don't rip anybody off. Everybody gets what they paid for.
They get their euro worth.
So
She doesn't take dollars.
he was constantly, when I first started working there, I worked in the purchasing department, and I would be trying to order stuff, and the vendors would say, we're not sending you anything because you're not paying our bill. You're not paying your bills. So I'd have to go to accounting, and accounting would, run it up the flagpole and it would just take forever. But anyway,
What do we need 300 dildos for?
this guy
It's tough
was
to organize.
loved
a gangbang.
not paying his vendors. But if our customers pulled that shit on him, it was on. So he bragged to me one day about something he did.
Do I get to guess?
Oh,
Where is he from? First of all,
Queens.
Queens. God damn that!
Yeah, you better shut up.
All up.
Yeah, don't say it.
Shit.
Don't say it. I'm gonna have to sit on you.
Go.
There was this one supplier that I guess skipped a payment, not supplier, customer skipped a payment or two, you know.
Yeah, wrangle those Johns.
So he told them, okay, we'll send you an order, but it has to be COD, cash on delivery. So they agreed to that. And he went to the shipping department and he said, fill up a box with rocks. So the people in the shipping department got a bunch of rocks, threw it in a box, sent it to this customer.
Hashtag dick move.
They paid COD, opened it up, got a box of rocks. And there was really no point to that other than don't fuck with me, I will fuck you back.
It reminds me of this chick I knew that her dad got a ticket for speeding, that they took a picture of him. So they sent him a ticket for the fine, and he laid out all the money for the fine and took a picture of it and sent that back to him.
That's awesome.
That's a hashtag dick move.
This
I worked in shipping departments. You can have fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah. This guy also, he had really poor boundaries between his personal life and his work life.
Penis and his grill.
His personal life was a train wreck. And he had this hot wife and he was cheating on her over and over and over again, sometimes with 18-year-old employees.
Well, I thought you were going to say 12-year-old boys, but
and
okay,
he was like,
good on him.
Like 40.
Hey.
And this one time, like I said, poor boundaries. I was in a I went into a conference room to have a meeting, and I don't even remember who the meeting was with. It might have been with, it might have been a business meeting with somebody from the outside.
It's a red flag when you walk in. It's black lights, and the dude's wearing a cod piece.
Oh no, he would not pay for black lights. This guy was so. You know how cheap he was?
Oh no! Wait, there's a joke.
The
Insert joke here. Pause.
He had a brand that he made that he just put a huge markup. He was making so much money, and he paid his production employees peanuts. He paid everyone peanuts.
I thought you were going to say.
But the production employees got the worst of it. And one day, the manager of production came to him and said, "Look, my guys want to walk out. You're not paying them enough. They're working massive amounts of overtime. They really need some kind of perk." And he said, and Ira said, "Well, what do you want?" And he said, "How about pizza?" And he's all, "Okay, we'll do pizza." Guess what he ordered? How many people were in that? There are 20, let's say 30 people in
one pizza for 28 people.
Yep. Yep, that was it. He said, "I will pay for one pizza." Okay, so I walk into this conference room, and he was always leaving his.
We're reporting live where the building is on fire.
Shut the fuck up. I'm not done with my story.
Where the building is on fire.
Stop derailing me.
Pizza.
I walked into this room, and normally he would have folders of stuff piled everywhere. Some of it was personal, some of it was business, but it was just like folders and just sloppy. But there was one piece of paper. The room was completely clear except for one piece of paper. And I sat down, picked up the piece of paper, and it says his wife's name at the top. And it's a bill, and it says Pap smear.
That's what you get when you step on Papa Smurf.
Pap smear, yeah.
I learned that in biology.
I'm trying to think of other stories.
So
There's so many. Oh, after the earthquake.
You put that in the notes of the check he has to write. Fucking Pap smear.
Yeah.
Damn women and their health.
Yeah, my damn wife. He had me out. Oh God, that takes too much explaining. Right after the earthquake, the HR director said, we can't have any employees come into work today because the plumbing's not working. The plumbing's not working. Where are they going to go to the bathroom? And he was screaming. I mean, he would have tantrums. A friend of mine quit because she had witnessed one of his tantrums and she was traumatized. She went home that night and she found a chunk of drywall in her eyebrow because he'd been kicking the wall and pounding on it, and drywall was flying everywhere because he was having this tantrum. He was like Trump.
Couldn't even afford a good building, apparently.
Yeah, would not. And
Dude, your building's falling apart.
So his response was, tell him to go in the creek to pee, he wanted everybody to show up for work. There's like 150 employees. He wanted everyone to show up to work and everyone to pee in the creek, which was like behind the building. There, down a hill, there was just a very light creek. Yeah. And he wanted us to all squat and pee in there.
Yeah.
And he was serious. He's like, tell him to go in the creek. And then one day his wife showed up and they got in a big fight.
I'd have taken a shit on his desk.
That would have been awesome.
No fucking cameras, right? That's how you get your fucking coffee shit in, dude. You can't ever drink coffee from the office after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, because it's just like, oh, I needed to go. So I just went in your fucking coffee cup.
This is an example of what they thought of, what the employees thought of him. In the aisles where the product was kept, we sold protein bars, amongst other things. You would find wrappers in the aisles because employees
condom
were blatantly, no, candy wrappers. People were blatantly ripping him off.
Would have been better if it was.
And they weren't even keeping it a secret. They would like open up a package and start eating.
They were just throwing it on the ground
to throw it in his face. Yeah. But we had this lady that would come every day with sandwiches to sell to people. And she was such a sweetheart because she knew the employees were underpaid. If she felt like somebody couldn't afford to buy like a $3 sandwich, she'd say, here you go. She would leave her basket sitting there and walk away and go do something, and no one would steal from her. But those same employees would walk through wrappers and nut wrappers and stuff and just leave it all in the.
I'm not saying I would do this, but I would have paid her double the money for the sandwich and wiped my ass with it. I mean, theoretically, I might have done that.
Why? She was nice.
No, I'm saying wipe my ass with it and then give it to the boss.
Oh,
buy you a sandwich.
So this
and
guy,
a chocolate milk.
Oh yeah, from the chocolate starfish. So this guy had a BMW. It was like a black BMW, and he would always park it. There was never enough parking for the employees, but he would park like right in front of the building
in every day. Handicap spot.
It wasn't even a parking space. He just created his own parking space, and he parked there every day. And one day, he and his wife got in a big fight in the office, and she stormed out and she backed her Mercedes, just like batter-rammed it into his BMW, smashed the door in, and then peeled out.
Well, Jesus, she didn't pay for either one of those cars.
Yeah, she paid for it. All right. But what was funny was he was driving around for months with this massive dent. This guy is making millions. I kid you not. He was making millions. He drove around with a dent in the side of his car for months. And then one day, he finally replaced the door, and it was a completely different color than the rest of the car. And he had his employees searching junkyards to replace the door in his BMW.
Sounds like a real piece of work.
Anyway, I'm going to take up way too much. I could tell more stories about this guy. But
was that the butter? Was that the butter churn factory that you worked at? I was just waiting for that joke.
Okay.
Think I can top
that? No,
I
make much better butter than he does. Yeah. Then he makes vitamins.
She, at the very least, has worked as a professional, mostly.
What? You've never worked as a professional?
Well, I mean,
tile setting.
But I worked in construction.
But you're a professional. You're a master tile setter. That's professional.
Oh no. Hey,
you're paid to do a trade. That's professional. Anyway, okay, go ahead. I'll stop propping you up now.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's clip this and come back and I'll tell my story.
Oh, okay. We can do that.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
All right. In the next segment, I'm going to come back with one Mr. Terry Reagan. And I like your stories. Your boss was definitely. I mean,
I got
again,
more.
like I'm shocked that he was able to get away with that shit. But it was the 18th century,
Yeah.
so
yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can get away with abusing your.
Yeah, well,
employees,
there
but-
was no way to share the information
Exactly.
except for carrier pigeons
Yeah.
or ravens.
Yeah,
So
chiseling.
yeah. Remind me sometime to tell the story of when his father was dying, and I had to carry down around his father's death certificate in my car because, like I said, very poor boundaries between work and home. Anyway, it's actually a really funny. It's funny story.
It sounds like it. So far, so good. I'm bored. I'm not. I haven't clipped the show yet. So
Basically, his father was dying. I was the trade show coordinator. I'd been promoted. I was working in marketing, and I was the trade show coordinator. And I coordinated all the company travel. And so he came to me and said, "Can you get me prices on a flight to New York? Because my father's in the hospital."
I was hoping you would say some crazy destination.
Yeah, he's like at death's door. No, this guy's super cheap. So I
Thailand.
I checked some pricing.
Always
And
wanted something.
now keep in mind his father is old and really sick. He's like in bed dying
This is
in the hospital.
hospice. Yeah.
So I called around and I got back to him and told him the prices, and he's like, okay, never mind. And I'm thinking, I had this image in my mind of his father lying on his deathbed, the family surrounding him, and dad's all, "Where's Ira?" And they're like,
He's busy haggling on flower prices.
he didn't want to fly out because it was too expensive.
Oh.
And he would go, "That's my boy."
Hashtag deathbed dick move.
Yeah. So anyway, there's more to that story, but that's kind of the meat of it.
All right. I'm not trying to one up you,
Yeah. Oh,
but I
feel
got a guy.
free.
I got a guy.
Okay. So next segment,
All right. We'll be
his
right
guy.
All right. San Juan slingshots. David Carcaron makes our slingshots. You make you some too. Handmade, made with love. We need the master list. Dr. Z has it. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh God. We need to
You know
get
what's
that.
funny is I never flinch it when people shoot like point rubber bands at me and stuff. Like I don't flinch because there's just no point. If they're gonna hit you with it, they're gonna hit you with it. But when you stare dead into their fucking eyes, like I do, and they don't shoot,
Yeah. That makes you feel powerful.
well, no. What makes me feel power is when they turn around. Powerful is when they turn around and I shoot them with a nail gun. Because I'm motherfucking Jay Tyler.
I can't top that. I never shot anybody with a nail gun.
You're Miss Parker. No nail guns for her. This
Is nothing yet live. All right.